Hi everyone! This is the assignment where you are going to be creating a content area called Weekly Learning Modules. And inside that content area, you're going to actually be able to create a lesson plan. That would be the first item that you're going to be having in your learning module week 1. That way it's going to serve as a landing page for your students. So basically we're going to talk about a lesson plan that you're going to be creating outside of Blackboard if you want, because that way you can copy and paste, or you can actually type directly into the create item area. And in this content area that we're going to create, you'll have this content editor, and that way you'll be able to use a very small word processing program to help you format a lesson plan. You'll see. So we'll get started right now. Okay, so we're going to go up here to the top. This is the plus sign where we're going to add a menu item, and we're simply going to be adding a content area to our menu. Now, I'm going to call it Weekly Learning Modules. Most of the time we do call it Weekly Learning Modules. That way it will be a container, if you will. So all your weekly learning modules can be inside of this area. Notice little icon over here to the right. That means it's empty. There's nothing in it. And that's true because all we did is make the content area. Okay. All right, so we're going to enter this blank or empty weekly learning module area. And it's going to open, and it's going to provide you with a view or a screen of 4 different build buttons. So we are going to first create the learning module. Now, I do want to share with you that there's 2 ways to do a learning module. Some of our fellow colleagues and classmates have created folders where they're actually putting in different activities and lectures and PowerPoints and all kinds of materials. And that is basically another style of a learning module. In this particular exercise, I'm going to show you how to create a learning module that uses a table of contents. And that way you'll be able to see the difference. If you're not very fond of this type of learning module, we can talk about using the folder style learning module. So basically I'm going to name it Week 1, and what I like to do is I like to put in a little information that will be on the outside of the learning module. You can even describe what the learning module is going to have inside of it. For example, this week's learning module will provide you with information about Chapter 1. Now it's very simplified, but I want you to have an idea of what this can look like on the outside of a learning module. Think of a learning module as a way to organize and actually put all of your information for that week. Sometimes a learning module can be broken down by a topic, a chapter, so on and so forth. For purposes of this exercise, we're going to break it down by weeks. So in this particular learning module, I know I'm going to have a lesson plan because every one of my learning modules is going to have a lesson plan. I might have a PowerPoint. I might have a quiz and a threaded discussion forum. And you can use some of the word processing formatting techniques that we know from our word processing programs. This is very simplified, but we do have some of the same features. And you can use the bulleted. So once I scroll down because I want you to look at some of the other options. You can enforce sequential viewing of the learning module. That means that the table of contents will be locked on the left-hand side, and your students wouldn't be able to move through the table of contents out of order. They would have to go through each item individually. And for some people that might work. In the case of this course, you could try both. You could see what it looks like to enforce that sequential viewing of each item in the learning module, or you could actually see how it's going to look when you don't enforce a sequential viewing. It's up to you what's going to work for you. We're going to leave it at no right now. Everything else should be fine. You can date and time restrict these learning modules. That would be something that you could do if you want them to be available for a short period of time and then disappear. I'm just going to leave all the defaults here. This is something you can think about later. We can talk about as well. And then I'm going to click on Submit. Okay, this is what week 1's learning module looks like. Doesn't that look great? Gives a little bit of information for the student to be able to see what's inside. Now this can be edited because things do change, so you just move your mouse to the right of the text, the name, and you can edit that and go back in and make some changes and some additions, whatever you need to do. All right, so now we're ready for the lesson plan. I'm going to click on week 1. And I'm going to go inside of the learning module. This is where you're going to start building your content, your activities. You're going to be linking your threaded discussions, your PowerPoints, your documents, all the different types of activities and materials you're going to provide to your students. Now, for the first page in every one of your learning modules, I am highly recommending that you go to the Build Content, you create Item. And this is where you are going to put your landing page, so to speak. In this case, I'm just going to call it Lesson Plan. And this is where you can do your planning. Now, you may have read some of the information about lesson plans, and I've provided some links that give you a template, so to speak, of a lesson plan. And I'm going to just show you this for just a minute. This is a lesson plan that I've used. I've actually created it offline, meaning I've opened up a word processing document and I've just started planning. What I like about the lesson plan is that it is going to help you as you start to develop your learning modules. For example, I always start with my student learning outcomes. And then if I'm doing any kind of training, whether it's virtual or face-to-face, I can actually provide some information for the students on the breakdown of the activities. And then I can give a little bit more information about what the activities will include. And in this case, I have some optional activities. So now I'm just going to do a Control-C for copy. That means that it's in my magnetic clipboard, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do either a right click or Control V, and I'm going to be putting this information in this area. Now, what does happen sometimes, if it does keep the formatting and you're not too happy about it and you want to keep the information maybe edited a little bit in this content editor, you can go over here to the very right hand side, the top row of the tools, and click on Remove Formatting, and then you can start to reformat some of these areas. And I'm not going to go into that right now, but I do want you to see that this is going to really help your planning phase of your learning modules. And I'm just going to fix this right here. Well, I guess it's not going to work for me. I'm just going to unformat that, see what happens. Sometimes I have to play around with this a little bit if I'm not very happy with the way those bullets are showing up. Okay, then when I'm done, I can do a preview. If I wanted to see what this is going to look like, I can do a preview, and when I'm happy with that, I'm going to click on Submit. Now that I have submitted my lesson plan, this is what it's going to look like. And I can click off on that green bar. That means that it has successfully been submitted. I just want you to look at this a little bit. Again, use this lesson plan as a planning document for all your learning modules. Not only will it be helpful to you as a planning document, but when your students come into your learning module, this will be the first page that they see. It's a static page. It will not be popping up. It will not be an activity. It will simply be a plan for this week, topic, or chapter, however you're going to break down your learning modules. Now I want you to see how it's going to look as a student. So I had my edit mode to on. Now I'm turning it off. This is where the table of contents is, and see how nice this is for my lesson plan. So once you're done with this, this will be your first item inside of your learning module. I want you to go back to the class where you're a student and then go back to that assignment area and write in the submission box and just let me know that it's completed, and I'll go and check, and I may make some comments, but I will give you some points for this. So thank you very much, and I hope you've enjoyed this and that it does help you to see exactly what we're going to be building in your developmental shell. Okay, thank you.